Check out the Territorial Dispatch. Papers are weekly and can be obtained free at distribution or by mail through subscription. It's the only locally owned and operated newspaper in the region. The paper is the rest of the story. And also check out the E-Territorial. It's an online version of the Territorial Dispatch which features local news and events for the Yuba Sutter, Colusa, and Nevada County areas. You'll also find daily and breaking news updates, current traffic, and weather information, along with a calendar of local events. Visit the E-Territorial at eterritorial.com.
Oh, my uniform is so neat as I walk along the street, dressed so nicely from my bottom to the top. All the motorists in sight are incredibly polite, cause they know that I'm a big deal traffic cop. My buttons as nicely shined, and what have we here? Oh, parked in a loading zone. When a motor car I finds in a set of yellow lines, I just purses up my lips all thin and tight. First I scribbles out a ticket, tears it quickly out and lick it. Then I plucks it on the car with all my might. Bad luck, eh? How I love to see the piles of the cars for miles and miles as they wait for...
All right, as we all know, that's our tribute to Dr. Dennis Hawk. Dennis Hawk, the traffic cop that really, 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 really wants to be sheriff if nobody will bully him ever. So,
I want to be sheriff, just don't be mean to me.
All right, enough said. You're going to vote for, well, hopefully you're going to vote for Brandon Barnes, the guy who actually has the knowledge to be sheriff and will make a decent
experience.
Sheriff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've talked to Brandon quite a bit, you know, and I've hard-timed him a little bit. He's approachable, and he's still congenial.
Yeah.
Even though I've given him a hard time a few times.
And, you know, the thing that I like about it is I don't feel like with any of the guys that we have backed that we're always going to see eye to eye with them, but it means they have a spine. But I also feel like you can sit down and talk to any one of them, and they will hear your point of view, and they'll give you their point of view, and there'll be some middle ground that you can stand on.
Yeah.
They're not just going to say it's too hard for you to understand, so that's it. That's the way I see it.
As long as
Didn't you graduate from law school?
As long as they're able to maintain the mindset that they're servants of the people, you know what I mean? And I believe Brandon will be that. As I'm talking about him, I'm thinking also he'll be a good sheriff, but in 4 years and 8 years, he's going to be a way better sheriff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because you'll have the time on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it. So,
well, and I believe he also has the respect of the people. He has the respect of other sheriff officers. He has the respect. And, I mean, that says a lot. I mean, I think you have to have that to be sheriff. You can't just stand up and say, well, now I have the badge, I have the name, so you better respect me. Mm-hmm. I think you need to have the respect before you get the job rather than demand the respect after you have the job.
Yeah. It's the same in every position.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You earn the respect of the people.
And I think we're going to see that on election night.
Right.
And here's the other thing that I believe he has is true leadership. Because I know that there's all these, I'm constantly getting things about, going to this leadership conference and, learn these leadership skills. I honestly do not believe that leadership is a skill you can learn.
No.
You're either a leader, you're a born natural leader and you will lead and people want to follow you, or you're not. You either have it or you don't. It's not a learned skill. And I believe that every one of the people that we're backing, we recognize that in them, that they're a leader. They're a leader because they just are. It's not something they acquired.
I think you're right about that. I think you're pretty much born with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're designated as being in charge.
Yes. I've seen a lot of boobs in charge, man. Let me tell you.
I'm getting a visual here.
That's an old.
You're the only one getting a visual.
Guys.
It isn't like the whole everybody in the room can see the visual.
That's not a politically correct.
That's an old school term. That's right. My dad used to say
I may
that.
need to get my Urban Dictionary out for
Don't
that.
you remember Lost in Space with Will Rogers and the
Yes.
robot? How he'd
Yes.
talk about.
I don't.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger,
Yeah.
Will Robinson. Wow.
Shut the door, I'm telling you.
So, but for sure, Brandon Barnes is way out qualified of Dennis Halk. That I truly believe that, and think he'll do a good job as a sheriff.
Yeah. Well, speaking about that over at the sheriff's department, we need to talk about
But
that.
every sheriff needs a backbone too, man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To stand up against the federal encroachment.
Mm-hmm.
Because so only time is going to tell, in my opinion,
Yeah.
whether he will have the backbone enough to do that.
Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, since sheriffs have been around, they've had to have a spine and be able to stand up to some pretty nasty stuff. Whether it be like DeAugustini up there throwing the federal government out. I mean, literally throwing the Forest Service out and then the Fish and Game out. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
that takes some spine right there to tell the federal government, not on my watch.
Yeah, but he threw the people out because they were being thugs.
Well, I agree.
Yes.
But still, you
Yeah,
know,
it takes
to stand up,
it takes some spine. You betcha.
and to stand up to the federal government like that is just awesome.
So, in when you're watching the great propaganda tool, the television, they portray every cop show in a certain fashion, and they portray it as the federal government as the ultimate authority. You know what I mean? Oh, and they portray it as a pyramid type deal where they're the top and all the others are on the bottom. Okay, and the people are on the very bottom. Okay,
Down there in the dregs.
yes. So that propaganda it does work, and you have a lot of people that are believe in it. You know,
I
So
want to
that's
hear
what they
about the
see.
sheriff's department.
Okay.
Continue the story.
So let's rewind 2 weeks ago. I went
Rewind?
down. We
Something is happening here.
anyways.
What
So-
it is?
Yeah.
Ain't
Ain't
exactly
really
clear.
Tammy's
There's a
giving
man
it to
with a
Jason
gun
though,
over
that's
there.
for sure.
Oh man.
Let me try and talk into this real quick. So a couple weeks ago, Tammy and I, CCW, were up for renewal. We went out and qualified, got renewed. And since the sheriff's department now has a deal to where you can have as many unlimited guns on your permit, we decided she shot with one of my 45s. And so she could carry all my guns now. And it's nice because now if we leave one in the car, it doesn't matter who's driving, whatever, we got clearance. So I went down and renewed mine. I had to put, I think, four guns on mine, 3 guns on mine, something like that. So I went down, paid the fee, they added the guns. Tammy had to add mine and then add a couple more of hers. She bought a couple of guns the last time around, so she had to add, what, 5?
5.
5 guns. We go down there. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. She took off early from work to do this. So we go down there. We take in our guns. And I went with her just because we were going to a soccer game afterwards. We go in there, and the lady says, there's no way I can add all these guns and renew your CCW in an hour. Can't happen. I cannot do this. And I'm going,
The job is too hard.
you type in Kimber, type in 45, type in the serial number, type in the next gun, type in, whatever. Done. It's not rocket surgery here, lady.
Well, it was the way she delivered that. I mean, it was the exacerbation in her voice that was. I mean, and the behavior.
How dare
and
you interrupt my solitaire game at the last hour of work on a Friday?
So,
That's what I said. I told Jason. I said,
You
she's just mad.
inconvenienced her.
Yeah, she's just mad. She can't, finish her day off by playing solitaire there in the back. She's got to actually do her job. But I could not believe the mannerisms. Her whole body said, "I hate you."
she was in a big huff.
Oh man,
my
was she ever?
gosh.
And I mean, just and I interjected. I didn't want to be rude, but not saying anything was not an option. Obviously, I said, "Well, she took off early today to come do this. We need to get this done." And I didn't say it that rude. Even I was just kind of like, "We need to get this done." She took off early to get this done. And my next statement was going to be, and you're telling me you can't finish out your regular day to do this because this is BS. But she said, fine, well, open the boxes.
Well, yeah, and I think another lady came out and said, it's okay, you do that part, I'll do this part.
Yeah, so she needed help to do this.
Yeah, she needed help to do this task. So then she begrudgingly says, fine, open the boxes.
Well, what was great is we weren't the last couple to come in that needed their CCW renewed.
So we went and sat down after she took the boxes. We unlocked them and she took them back there. Well, then this other couple comes in. We see they're carrying cases, and oh my gosh, we looked at each other, and Jason's like, "Oh, she's gonna blow a gasket."
So I'm leaning forward to my chair, looking through the window to see what she does. And the guy comes in. He has 2 cases, and they were big cases, so I knew there was more than one gun in each case, right? And I can't wait. And she asked the question, "How many guns?" And I mean, it was like that.
It was like that, literally. We're
She
not
goes,
exaggerating.
"How many guns?" And he says, "Well, we have 3 that we got to add to her parade." She goes, and the frown. I had Tammy lean forward. I said, "You have to see this. You have to see. Look, lean forward, honey. Look." And the frown went all the way down to almost her jawline. Was her frown? And I'm like,
Man,
this is
what?
unbelievable.
I really didn't. He kept egging me on. He's like, "You have to look. You just look." And I didn't want to like draw attention because I'm like, I just want her to get mine done. I just want to get mine done because I don't want to have to come back.
She'd already seen the pictures of Ruesser's wife giving me the stink eye whenever I took the picture. She didn't want to see that kind of look given to her.
Yeah. So I looked, and I'm glad I did because it
Was that
priceless.
the biggest frown you ever saw in your life?
Well, it just I wished I could share that with others because it was interesting.
So then that happened. She's like,
So that happened.
2 other people came in for CCW renewals.
So there were a total of 6 people.
There was a total of 5 people that needed renewals. The 2 that came in with the 3 guns, the 2 behind us, and then Tammy, because I already had mine done the week before. By the way, that's something I wanted to back up to. I went in the morning, had a really nice lady, took about 15 minutes, and I was out of there. And I added 4 more guns. So 5 guns should be maybe another 2 minutes. Maybe.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
And
15
wow,
minutes is all it took.
this lady was having a meltdown. So then the other people went up, right? And she was just as rude to them. They kind of lost it. They're like, if you don't want to do your job, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but that one, the old guy was upset. He's like, if they don't want to do their job, maybe they should find another one.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and they had said that, we live, way at the south end of the county, and, we drove all this way, and the person on the phone told me just to be here by 4:15 because it takes 15 minutes. I mean, that was the other guy. Oh,
that's the last guy. So
okay.
So let's get there now.
Okay.
So they finally got theirs arranged, and she was good, and they had another lady come in to help them do theirs. Well, then another guy comes in and he goes, "Well, I'm here to renew my CCW." So now we are up to 6. She loses her cool, and he goes, "Look, I live all the way at the other end of town. You told me if I was here by 4:15, I could get this done. I want it done." And he was being pretty stern with her.
Well, what's really funny is all these, so everybody's witnessed her behavior in the way she's dealt. And so this other customer doesn't know this guy from Adam, says, he drove all the way from, she started getting in on the argument. She was
and this
arguing
guy,
on his behalf.
And this other guy is going, "Honey, it's okay. Don't get in their argument. She's doing ours. Just let it be." So there's almost a riot for CCWs.
Wow.
But anyways, so this guy says this. And then she hunts down. She goes, "Well, you're adding a gun. Do you have the gun with you?" Loophole. And he goes, "No." And she goes, "Well, then you can't do this today anyways," and shoves his papers back to him. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, here you go. That's my loophole. I'm not doing this at all. Here's your paperwork back. Come back later.
Now, here, I've had that kind of treatment at the Yuba City Police Department. Okay.
Well, so let me finish real quick. Let me finish the story, then you can go. So then at the end, I'm going, Brandon Barnes.
Yes.
The couple next to us go, we're already in on Brandon Barnes. We got this. So, we turned it into a campaign deal and vote for Brandon. If you want this stuff to change right here at the counter staff, you better vote for Brandon Barnes. So we're out there.
Everybody in the lobby was voting for Brandon Barnes after that experience. I'm sure they probably were to begin with, but nobody could believe this. We were all talking about it in the lobby. And I think the lady finally realized how bad she was being, because I told Jason when she called me up and went back, she was being very friendly. She was really trying to make up for, just making all these excuses. Well, it's a Friday, it's the end of the day, and da-da-da-da. I mean, she was just really trying to be apologetic and be friendly at that point in time.
Trying to suck up. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think it was the idea that she heard that she may have a new boss, and we all knew the boss, and it could be bad in her favor. That maybe her cush job of playing video games at the end of the day on Friday might come to a halt all of a sudden.
Could be.
Because it was.
She did change her song and dance. There
it was sad, folks. It was really, really sad.
Yeah.
Sonny Bono, when he was alive, he had real bad treatment when he went to the building department in Palm Springs. And he told the lady, he said, I don't need this, and I'm going to run for mayor, and I'm coming back to see you. And he did, and he won the seat, and he got rid of her.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what needs to happen.
Did he say, I got you, babe?
No. I hope he did, because that would have been priceless. Yeah.
She did tell me that because she was so irritated that I have 5 guns that I wanted to add. She's like, well, I don't see why you had to add. She's like, some of these, I really don't understand why you added these. I'm like, well, because now my husband doesn't have to worry if he's, if we're exchanging vehicles and he leaves, one in the vehicle, he doesn't have to worry about it. Now it's on my permit.
She was worried because some of them were, I've got some full-size competitive 1911s that are heavy.
But in reality,
how are you going to carry that? But
in
it's not our
reality, American citizens should not have to deal with any of that garbage.
That's right.
No, we have the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
That covers us pretty good.
That's right.
And it was put to me like this. Well, it wasn't put to me like this. I read it on somewhere that
You could actually read part of the Constitution.
Yes, I can.
Without
And
having a law degree.
Oh, you can read it.
My God.
Yeah, you can read it.
Oh,
You can't understand it.
understand it.
Well, it was like
I
this.
think I get it.
if the Constitution applies to radio, if the First Amendment applies to radio, applies to TV, and there was and the internet, then why does the Second Amendment only apply to muskets?
Well,
Because I don't think TV was around whenever the First Amendment was written. I'm pretty sure radio wasn't, and I'm almost darn sure that the internet wasn't, because what's his name, Dan Dole?
Al Gore. Al Gore. Dan Dole.
Invent the internet.
of course he did. Just
Okay.
ask him; he'll tell you.
So, I mean, it was a good statement of then why does they think the Second Amendment apply to muskets? I'm sorry.
Or why does all the other amendments apply to everyone, but the Second Amendment only applies to militia?
Yeah.
Right.
So
hey,
what was your police department?
well, I had a burglary, and I tried to talk to the chief of police about it, and I got nothing but bad attitude from his secretary, and I don't mind telling you, she was rude.
Well, the
Rude.
chief of police is very busy keeping Dennis Hauck in line, I think.
Yeah. So, but I had a situation with my CCW also, and they called me and said, "Hey, you forgot to sign your CCW, or it didn't go through on the carbon or whatever, and can you bring it back down here?" So I did. Brought it back down there. The lady took care of it. No problem. And then, as I was getting ready to leave, she reached into her own purse and she says, here's a couple $dollars to go have it relaminated. And I go, oh, wow. That's, so that's the flip side, huh?
That must have been the same lady I got. Because the one lady that I got was more than accommodating.
So, I mean, I had to get it relaminated because the thing will go to dust if you don't.
Exactly.
And, but yeah, she said it was my fault that I didn't check this, and here's $2. So
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's customer service, is and I mean, it's kind of like whenever we were getting all of our alcohol license for the Republican
For the events.
for the events and the Republican headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
One of the police officers had to sign them, right? Sign off on them. He signed one.
Yeah,
Didn't go through the rest of the
I had like
papers, signed-
6 in a folder.
Signed one.
He signed the top one.
So then it's on us to go back and just be and to be just braided. Well, maybe you should have put on there that you needed more. Well, maybe he should have done his job and looked and investigated a little bit and looked through why there was more than one page that he's normally used to signing. Maybe there was a reason why there were 6
Not
pages.
my job, man.
Yeah, not my job, bro. Yeah. Maybe you should write a little sticky
Well,
note.
a lot of it has to do with they're jaded to the public.
Yeah.
They become jaded to the public.
Well, I got news for him.
And you can't let that happen. Or if you want to become jaded, get yourself a job that doesn't interface with the public.
That's right.
Well, when we were at the
See how
sheriff's
long you
department, and we were sitting in their lobby, Jason did say, wow, after Brandon gets in here, Tom and I can really come over here and really spruce up this place because they really need a remodel.
Have you been in there?
Yeah, it's pretty dirty.
Whoa! And they started a remodel, and then they stopped, and it looks like they started another one and stopped, and it was nasty.
It looks pretty bad in there.
I mean, I'm looking at our Republican headquarters, and I'm going, "This is an upgrade compared to the sheriff's department. This is
Yeah.
Well,
bad."
yeah.
And we put ours together with scraps.
Exactly. So that's what I was telling Tammy. Maybe we need to run over there and do a little bit of work, do some painting, and just clean it up just a little bit. Because you walk in there and you're like, "Huh? Is this another country or what?" So,
Third world country.
yeah.
Well, how's that the whole remodel going?
What,
The jail remodel.
I don't know. I wasn't in the jail.
He's not going back to jail.
Ever. No matter what the firework police say.
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about. So you go into the lobby.
Yes, Jeff Pierce, he took me on a little tour when I went over there one time and showed me what they were doing. As far as I know, that remodel is, it's an addition too. As far as I know, it's still going on.
The renovation.
Yes,
Well, the remodel in the lobby isn't going very good.
yes.
There is no remodel in the lobby.
Yeah.
Well, they got some drywall done, and then they got some some roofing tore off, and I don't know. I'm not
What
really
a
sure what they're
sad
doing.
game we had.
They have a big vending machine.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe they should have a vending machine for popcorn so that when people go in there for entertainment
It's
purposes,
a show.
right?
It's a show.
Well, why not just get
yeah.
a taco truck instead?
No.
Taco truck parking only right out front. Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay, I'm done.
Now, we do have on the ballot this year, we're going to vote on daylight savings time.
Yes,
Did you
we
know
are.
that?
I saw that.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I would rather do away with it and just leave it plain and simple, man. Just standard time where we're at right now, just leave it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's like I told Tammy, for us, she was talking about, us being contractors, about what it affects us. And I said, it really doesn't affect us. We're going to work from daylight
To dark.
and we're going to work, but the thing that I like about it not changing is I get home and I have an hour or so of non-darkness whenever I get home, so I can still do chores around the house and stuff. Clean my pool, do stuff, because otherwise you come home, you leave it dark, you come home at dark.
Yes. So I'm for that too. I don't want I
don't
want to
like-
get rid of the daylight savings time.
And
But-
plus,
I like having a little bit of light in the evening.
exactly, of getting home and having a little. I think it's designed for a slave system, doing the daylight savings time.
But the question
because
is,
you work from daylight to dark.
the
It's just the way it
question
goes.
is it going to have an effect on staff?
Staff doesn't work that much anyways.
It could have an effect. So, what else are we voting on? The Measure 10, that is the,
It's a dialysis.
no, that
No,
has to do with the housing.
Oh, the-
Expands
Rent
local
control.
government's authority to enact rent control
Oh,
on
no,
residential
no, no.
property.
It's not. That's out the door.
No,
Yeah,
we
let's
don't want rent
let's
control
have
on
that.
private.
Let's have more government in our lives
Yes.
over our private property.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah, let's vote yes on that.
And
That's a good idea.
I haven't looked into this one on dialysis, but you know,
That's
I'm not
8.
for government regulating private
Leave the
business.
people alone.
That's 8.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then we have a bunch of bonds too. But
You know, I always vote no on the bond.
me too.
I
Quit
voted no
borrowing
on
money, man.
every clean water bond, every air quality bond. I voted no on every one of them. Every one of them's passed, and we still don't have clean enough water or clean enough air, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
We're
How about
indebted
that?
to our eyebrows. These politicians are going to save us, and for some reason, we never get saved.
Okay. I thought I was done.
Until your air quality.
Yep, till
Yep.
air quality came
We
up.
got it. We got an air quality story.
I got to tell you this, and I'll be quick about it. The other day, I get a letter from,
What county is that down there? I can't remember.
San Joaquin.
San Joaquin.
San Joaquin County Air Quality Board. I built a project in 2015 that was finalized in 2015. 2015, it was finalized. 2014, I got the air quality permit. Signed off the air quality permit. Everything is good. 2018 rolls around. The end of 2018 is rolling around. They did an audit. There was one box left unchecked on a clean fleet box. My permit was $28,000. The fine is $29,000 for a box being left unchecked. I have to go back to the contractor that I hired, prove that he had a clean fleet, and the box was just mischecked rather than left intentionally unchecked, and I have 10 days. Otherwise, the fine for the fee for the air quality permit was $28,000. The fine is $29,000.
So that, my friend, is total tyranny.
Wow, for a box being left unchecked.
I got
Yeah.
a different name for it, but I don't think you can say that over the air.
Okay. Well,
So going back to 2014, when we went to get this permit from air quality,
Tammy was down there with me. She was staying down there. We were running over to the coast. Where did
Yeah.
we go? I forget where we went. But anyway, you were down
Morro Bay.
Yeah, Morro
I think
Bay.
We went to Morro Bay, had a little vacation. But I used to like to go down there because you stayed at that resort place, and it was nice.
there. Harris Ranch.
Oh yeah, Harris Ranch. That's what it's called. So anyway, so we're down at air quality, and for one thing, we arrive at this building, and this place is like the Taj Mahal. And I'm thinking back to my hometown, Feather River Air Quality, and I'm thinking, okay, air quality, that's an operation you can like run out of a commercial coach. This place is elaborate. It is huge. And just the Taj Mahal.
Brand new cars everywhere.
And I'm looking and I'm seeing how huge this place is, how many people are there. I'm like, what could all these people possibly be doing? This is air quality.
they are eating out our substance.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, have you ever been to Coalinga? There's no air quality. There is no such thing. It's an oxymoron. That place stinks so bad. I came up with a term for it. It was called the potpourri of bad smells. I did not like the smell in Coalinga. I stayed inside mostly.
Isn't Coalinga where they had the massive earthquake?
Quite some time ago.
Yeah.
But what they have there is a huge amount of dairy cattle,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh.
Hence
Harris
Harris Ranch.
And then they got oil wells.
Yeah.
And check it out. I had to stay at Harris Ranch because all the other hotels, all of them, were booked over a year and a half out with oil refinery workers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have a nice place that you would.
No,
wanna
no,
stay
I wouldn't
anyway.
have stayed in them anyways. But the thing is there were no other hotels. I mean, it was bad, so we stayed at Harris Ranch. But it was amazing to me. So now this gets kicked back because we got an audit and one box wasn't checked. So now I have to provide documentation, which I've already provided, that the clean fleet was in use on that job.
Okay, now that right there, too, is more tyranny. Okay, it is the government that is forcing the private enterprise to police another private enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay, total tyranny. Okay,
Well-
for air quality, right?
And this
Hogwash,
this is the big joke. And then I get a fine from Yuba City for an illegal firework for $1,000. I mean, that could have started a fire apparently. Well, I didn't have a firework, but the fact is okay.
They never
talking-
produced evidence on you.
No,
either,
they didn't. They never did. But that's the whole thing. Is I could have fought it, and I ended up not, because the fact is my time is worth a little bit more than $1,000 to try and prove, and all the steps I was going to have to go through, and the paperwork we were going to have to fill out and triplicate and submit and serve the. I mean, literally, we were going to have to go serve the city, and it's just yada 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 yada, all this crap.
That's more tyranny.
I got a $29,000 fine that I really need to deal with, because that is actually substantial that I have to bide my time with, other than a $1,000 fine. But it seems like fines in my life are just like, this is the new thing. Here, let's find this guy. Let's find him some more. Let's find him a little bit more. Let's find just a little bit more, because a box wasn't checked. Now, here's the deal is, I know I have the paperwork. I've got it. I found it. But I've got to resubmit it. I've got to take the time to find it. And the bad part is, folks, is they already have the information.
Yeah.
They have it. It was just a matter of that box wasn't checked. So now all of a sudden, well, we can't find it either. So now you're going to have to find it, resubmit it, and prove it. BS. I submitted it whenever I turned in the application. Otherwise, you would not have accepted the application and gave me the permit.
Everything that was on that paperwork was threatening you.
Oh, yeah.
wasn't
Oh, it was.
It's
Come on.
Yeah. Threat after threat after threat after threat.
And you have 10 days to respond,
Yes.
or we'll take that as non-compliance.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
It's
I'm sick
amazing
of that tyranny. Now, you talked about getting my blood boiling. And,
now
and
you've
getting
excited Tom.
getting my irritant factor up. That definitely gets it up.
Well, and what's amazing is the fine is more than the permit. Come on. Give me a break. As
Yes.
much.
Yes.
What did they do with $28,000 for? I mean, what was
They
that
needed a
for?
remodel for the front.
What was that for?
Taj Mahal.
Air
Yeah.
quality.
The Taj Mahal.
Unbelievable.
Apparently, they don't go out to Coalinga and take a very big whiff ever. Because, yeah, the potpourri of bad smells. Oh, well. Okay, I'm done.
Hey, I got something.
What do you got?
I got as I'm listening to you go through all of this, it's amazing who has the time to go back and do all this checking, right? When you got everything signed off. We have vetted our candidates, right?
Yeah.
They check out. You checked out. I have something about another candidate that was provided to me, and I am just waiting for this to appear somewhere in the media, locally.
Don't hold your
Well,
breath.
we're the media. Lay it
Okay,
on us.
so here's the tip. Sutter County Superintendent of Schools candidate Tom Ruesser failed to renew his teaching credential and administrative credential. Both credentials are required to run for the office of superintendent, and both expired on June 1st, 2018. 4 days after they expired in the June 5th, 2018 election, Mr. Ruesser was the second highest vote getter and is now on the November election ballot against the incumbent, Dr. Baldillon. He finally renewed his teaching credential effective August 22nd, but still does not hold an administrative credential according to the Commission on Teaching Credentialing. To verify this claim, go to ctc.ca.gov, click Employers, click Search for an educator, click Public Search, enter last name Ruesser, choose Ruesser Thomas. To verify that Dr. Baldillon has her credentials, follow the same steps, but search her name. Mr. Ruesser is currently employed as principal of a middle school with the Marysville Joint Unified School District, a position that also requires both active credentials. Prior to taking his current middle school role in May of 2017, Mr. Ruesser was fired as the principal of River Valley High School in Yuba City. So what I'm trying to figure out here is, does that bother anybody? That bothers me, that he is applying for a job that will oversee 1,500 teachers and he can't take care of his own business.
Yeah. Well, it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me that much for some reason. Because, like I said, I might run for sheriff, and I don't believe I need to be a cop to do it.
Well, it doesn't bother me either because maybe he had more pressing stuff to do than take care of his family and know that that was going to be his livelihood to take care of his family. Maybe something more pressing came up. So what that's telling me is that, geez, you know, if
He
something
hates
comes
his
up,
family.
that if something comes up at the school that needs to be done, but he just doesn't want to do it, that it probably won't get taken care of. So
I get the same thing about Ruesser that I do about Dr. Dennis Hawk. Okay? He's a really nice guy. He's my friend. He's charming. Clearly, we have two candidates, one that outshines the other one.
The bottom line for me is when it comes to having a teaching credential, I could give a hoot in hell about it, whether he has one, okay? But I want to know this. Is he a good teacher? That's really all I want to know,
Yeah.
you know? Because I'm sick of the requirements from the state on every nitpicking thing that you want to do. So I'm liberty loving, and I am sick of that petty tyranny, ultra petty tyranny, and ultra petty tyranny. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's supposed to have it according to the tyranny program.
Yeah.
And he needs to get it
I just don't.
because they're requiring us for all this.
What'd you
garbage.
find?
I think we should play this Los Agueros de Terreno
See.
for Amigos for the last 20 minutes.
Gosh.
That's a
Just found it in
CD
the
you
drawer.
just found.
Yeah,
there?
I found a CD. Never mind.
Well, there is
Sorry.
a Spanish-speaking radio program prior to ours, right?
Well, maybe it's the
There
Four
used to
Amigos.
be.
Bill?
No, there's not
Well,
anymore.
an
no.
hour
he-
prior to ours. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the Four Amigos?
Tom Shalhoub comes on right after it, and then we come on right after. Tom,
Okay. Well,
Tom's an opener for us.
sorry, ADD.
Well, I'm sorry
Take
that
it over in
I
here.
find following some rules. if anything, I think that there's. I just think it's.
if he'll let his teaching credential go, what else will he let go? That doesn't affect him personally. If you'll let something, and this is my spin on it, if you'll let something go that affects you and your family personally and your livelihood personally, you'll let a lot of other stuff go before you'll let that go. So what else will he let go in that position? Plain and simple. That's the way I see it.
It probably comes from the fact maybe that the rules are made. He's part of the system, and so the rules don't apply to him, right? They only apply to us peons out here. Maybe that's part of his thought process.
Could be.
know? So I don't know. It's
Doesn't apply to me.
It's all speculation. But for me, I'm sick
Not a
of
big
all
deal.
these rules.
Not a big deal for you.
Yeah, it's not. It's whether the man could teach. If he's going to be a teacher, whether the man can teach, okay? Or if he's going to be a principal, can he be a good principal? And if he can't be, fire him. I like that program. Fire him.
You mean if he can't do the job, fire him?
Yes, it's like Donald Trump's program. Remember? You're fired.
You're fired.
Yeah, I like that. I see now. I'm getting a little more on the Trump train. Aren't I?
A little bit more.
You're fired.
Are you
bit
at
more
the
every week.
station?
Maybe he's
Yeah.
got one
All
foot on the train now.
He'll be at
No,
the station
I
here
just
real soon now.
I hope he's on the platform.
Yeah, I got something I'm going to give you, and you can take home and read about the Trump program, and it's pro-Trump. So
Well, I am pro-Trump.
yes, and
Did you know that? So
and I
I'll read
think
what you have.
and I think you will like it. So
You know, I can't remember the guy's name. I sure wished I could, but I want to give him a shout out because we met him at Mike Ziegemeyer's thing.
His
this
name
week.
was Nash.
Nash. And he is doing some of the, it's not a truck stop, but where the trucks are parking in South Yuba City.
It's truck parking.
Yeah. And he came in, and I got to spend a lot of time playing craps with the guy and refresh him on craps. He'd played before. But I talked to him quite a bit, and he made up a bunch of T-shirts that said, "All trucks matter," because, you know, CARB situation where they were
Yes.
trying to separate between farm trucks and trucks on the road and charging different rates and everything. Well, he came up with a shirt that says all trucks matter, and he put it on the internet, and it went viral. And it ended up all the way back in Africa, where there were some African truck drivers, and they reached out to him. So he sent them a box full of shirts. Well, the African customs put a tariff on the shirts and wouldn't let the guys get them. So they called him and said, we can't pick the shirts up. They want $80 to pick the shirts up, yada, yada, yada. And that's a lot of money to them. I mean, that's a lot of money to them. So
Was this a Kenya program, man? Because they got some internet cafe programs going on in Kenya, man.
So let me finish. So he sent them $100 to go pick up the shirts. So he had pictures of all the African truck drivers standing out there in front of the trucks with these shirts on that said all trucks matter. Mm-hmm. And he said they called him up and said, well, what do you want us to do with this leftover money? There's like $20 left over, and that could take like all of us out to dinner or whatever. Do you want us to give that money back? And he said, no, go out to dinner. So they took all the truck drivers that they could gather up out to dinner. And I mean, just a really, really good guy. So in talking to him,
What they have for dinner?
I don't know. I don't know what they had for dinner. But here's the point, is talking to him, he was telling me about some of the stuff about the city council. I mean, not the city council, but the Sutter supervisors.
BOS.
And he is really pushing for Mike Ziegemeyer. But one of the things that he was saying is, he said, we have the money to put in the traffic light and everything they want. We have the money. They don't want that. They don't want us there. He said, everything that you're hearing about the traffic light and the roads and everything else, he said, is a flat ass lie. He said, they just do not want us parking trucks there, period. He said, they don't care about the tax revenue it's going to generate. They don't care about anything. We got some people over at the city who are worried about the beautification process and don't care about the money, don't care about the tax revenue, do not care about anything other than stopping them parking those trucks there. And it was really interesting to hear him talk, but a fine young man. I think he's really
been a frequent flyer at the BOS meetings.
Well,
I mean, in the public comments, he's been to every meeting.
Really?
Yes, and he gets up. He's very articulate.
He's a good guy. I was really impressed, and I really want to talk to him because we're trying to get somebody to get in there and kind of take over and start doing more of the Republican stuff for us, a
So we
younger
can do
crowd.
less.
Well, and just get a younger crowd in there and get them active. And I really want to talk to him again. I really hope he hears this and comes out. Talk to us about the radio station and stuff, because he would be a fine one to start leading that kind of thing and start talking about it. And then he even talked about, I think he said it was his sister that was Democrat until she got her first job. Got her first taxes taken out, and all of a sudden she's turning Republican. Imagine that.
Wow.
It only takes a little while.
Yeah.
Speaking of the trucks, diesel fuel, all $3.95
Well,
Yeah.
and
on
that's
Highway 99 going south of town.
well, and that's what he said. Is he says,
Wish we could get a pipeline from Oregon down here, man.
Yeah.
well, and that was the thing that he said. He says, and I already knew this, but it needs to go out and let this sink in. That everything you purchase, everything you buy or use in your daily life is delivered by a truck.
That's right.
So you don't think those gas prices or not having that outside of town for those guys to park at, it's not going to affect you? Guess what? Think again. Everything you pick up, eat, buy, do anything with, the fuel you burn, everything is delivered by a truck. At its end destination, it's delivered by a truck.
So this is important because when you look at your ballot, if you read Prop 6, the way it reads is they're going to take away money for the roads. But where it doesn't read is they're going to drop your gas by 12 cents and your registration by 25 to 125, or your diesel fuel cost by 30 cents,
Yeah.
20 cents.
Drop it or bring it
Now,
up.
when we had
It's
Steve
written
Frank,
deceptively.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Imagine
you
that.
have to vote yes on 6 to repeal the gas tax and your registration increases.
And-
Now, when we had Steve Frank there, he told us that in 2020 there's going to be a 72% cent increase in the price of gas, and that cannot be undone unless we have a supermajority of Republicans in both the Assembly and the Senate and the Republican governor.
And 72 cents for everybody out there in Palermo.
Yeah.
That's almost
That's
three-quarters
damn
of a
near
dollar. That's almost three-quarters.
Yeah,
that's
you
3
don't-
pennies
you
shy
get
of three-quarters of a
You get
dollar
a quarter back.
Per
So-
gallon.
per gallon. And I don't ever put in a gallon of gas whenever I go to the place. It's usually a minimum of 15 to 20.
Well, I'm glad that Nash is supporting Ziegenmeyer.
Yeah.
Because Paul Bossy is part of them.
Yeah, he's a swamp dweller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was pretty interesting talking to him. Like I say, it gave me a lot of hope seeing a kid that age and got to spend a
wasn't
lot
a
of time.
kid.
Well, he was younger than us.
Not by much.
Honey, we're not exactly spring chickens anymore. And by the way, you're just a little bit older than me.
Ooh, he had to go there.
There he
didn't
goes again.
So,
There he goes.
yeah, just go with that.
My wife's older than I am too, man.
Tammy's
I
like,
like older women.
yeah, Tammy's a cradle robber, but we just won't go there.
So this guy
Cougar,
Nash,
I think, is the term.
Oh, jeez, he did go there.
Nash didn't know he was going to get on the radio today, huh?
No, he didn't. But
Yeah.
like I say, he was very well versed. I really enjoyed my time talking to him. Played some craps with him. Played some blackjack with him. Bill had to skin out early. Bill was the dealer, and then after we lost a dice roll, he's like, "Well, I'm leaving now."
I'm
Hey,
leaving now.
neither
My
did
back is
that
killing me.
lady at Sutter County know she was going to get on the radio when she gave all that bad service, did she?
Hey, you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Treat everybody like you're a servant, and life will be good.
That's
Yeah.
right. You won't get on the TV show.
I think that's in the Bible somewhere. I really do.
The
that
golden rule.
You're supposed to just be a servant.
Yeah,
Yes.
be servant-hearted.
Yes.
And so
Are we going to
Bummer.
get back into our Bible verses? This is my commandment, that you love one another, right?
my
Your
gosh.
joy may be full. Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to church school and a lot of summer camp.
my whole thing is
And
be
it
careful.
Did you well?
You never
Yes,
know
you
who you're
will.
dealing with.
Yes.
You know.
That's a fact. The Bible even says you might be entertaining
An
angels
angel, that's right.
unawares. Yeah.
I just like to be entertaining.
So
Oh, trust me.
Yes, on 6.
yes,
Yes,
on
on
6.
six.
Yes, on
yes,
6.
on 6.
Yes, on six.
Repeal the gas tax.
And that's what I don't understand about. I love Lou. I love Lou Benninger. Love the guy. Have the most respect for the guy. Enjoyed doing his radio show for him that day that I got to help him out. Gave me a lot more respect for Santos because Lou likes it. I like how it likes it. But anyways, the fact is he likes Bradley Westmoreland. Bradley Westmoreland is no on 6. The pot smoke had to get to him. It had to. It had to get to him. He was high. He didn't realize it, and he wrote down, "This Bradley Westmoreland's a good dude."
Like I said, I think he confused him with General Westmoreland.
Something. Okay.
So on the Proposition 6, they say that it's going to cost the average family another $700 per year.
That's what Lou says, yes.
Between $700, $800 per year. But it's costing business huge amount more than that.
Well, what I
Huge
love is
amount
Bradley
more than that.
Westmoreland's a Democrat. He's for the people, right? I've got the people's back. So you need to pay another $700 a month, you low-income people who can't afford it. You need to pay this extra money. How does that work?
And what's worse than that is, okay, so that's directly out of their pocket, but then everything they buy is going to cost more.
That's what I don't understand. The cost of doing business is passed on to the consumer,
Sure.
which we're the consumer.
Yes.
Yep.
But they're always beating up the business.
Right. But the low income, everything is subsidized for them anyway. So, you know what I mean? They're getting food stamps and they're getting rent subsidies and PG&E, they're giving them that too, right? So everyone pays a higher PG&E bill. PG&E, in my opinion, is an entity of the state now.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they're so in bed together.
what gets me is I went to the bank the other day,
Fascism.
Chase Bank. and I went to deposit some money. You want to use the ATM machine? I said, no, I can just write it out and wait in line and talk to the lady and get some human interaction, and maybe she won't lose her job. Oh, she would never lose her job just because you're using the ATM machine. You should learn how to use the ATM machine to do your deposit, because that would never make her lose her job. If you take the human out of it, do you think they're really not going to replace it if they aren't taking the deposits? You think the lady who does deposits is going to lose her job? That's normally how it works, folks.
Yeah, that's not rocket surgery.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
You don't even need a law degree to understand that.
That's why when I go grocery shopping, I leave my cart way out in the middle of North 40.
Exactly.
So some young guy can go get it.
Exactly. Well,
You're that bastard.
well, check it out.
So
And
the
then-
wind can whip it into your car. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
But that's the same idea.
But
right?
check it out. It's the same thing as using the self-checkouts. Okay, I used the self-checkout the other day.
I don't like them.
The guy says, you want to use the self-checkout? I said, sure, fine. And then he's like, well, I'll help you. And I'm like, don't need your help if I use the self-checkout, do I? And he's like, and he could see, and I go, so you just gave away your job. And this was at Sam's Club. And you can see the deer in the headlight looking like,
Oh, shit.
I don't understand what you're saying. I'll just ignore it and go to the next guy. Do you want to use the self-checkout?
Yeah.
And then do you want me to help you? No, it's the self-checkout, right?
I read an article this week that Amazon is they're researching, they bought a research company, anything and everything to get mechanical robots to replace the human being from moving their packages around.
So you low-income folks, I'm sorry, not low-income. That's the wrong word.
Income challenged?
No, minimum wage folks out there, you better learn how to work on robots. So you
Yeah.
better become a rocket surgeon pretty quick, otherwise your minimum wage job is going to be gone.
Yep. That
Amazon has stores right now where you walk in and I mean they have facial recognition and I mean
Yeah, so you
Well,
can
think about
run,
it.
but you can't hide.
How many times do you look something up online one day and then the next day you get the email about it?
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Oh, for
you know?
sure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know. If the guy who sprays the ground and points to the sign at the car wash has a job, I don't know. Some of these might be okay for a while.
We went to the car wash the other day, and the guy was going like he was waving us on, and he's spraying the ground, and he's looking at
He's
something
spraying
else,
the ground.
and he's spraying the ground. And Tammy's like, if I would have kept going, basically, we would have ran his ass over by the time he was ready to stop
Yeah,
us.
and
he's
then he
spraying
points to the
ground,
sign.
and he's spraying with the ground and the stuff. You know, the surf through car wash.
Yes.
Where they do this,
Yes.
and then they go, and they point to the sign of do this.
Yes.
That guy. Wow.
And
I
they-
told
and
Tammy,
they have
I
to
think
point
his
to the
job
sign.
is a little redundant.
I told
Yeah.
Tammy, I said, I think the guy this is the maximum of his potential right here.
He certainly can't multitask. He can't be waving his arms to say, come forward and spray your car at the same time. So he's distracted. So he's spraying the ground, but he is doing the come forward thing with his arm. And then he manages to point to the sign.
I'm going to give that guy a break because I've probably been in his position before.
I'm sure I have, but
Yeah.
you know what? I also know I've been in his position, and I've done it to a certain ability.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, if you're going to do the job,
Was
at
it
least
this
do the
guy?
job. Yeah, that's the guy.
I'm sure I've accidentally sprayed someone with the hose before.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
I shouldn't say it, but I feel it coming on. Of you can hire those people; they don't get much done, but they sure are fun to watch. All right.
You're going to get some email.
Hey,
from
I
that.
know.
We're getting close to getting out.
Yes, we are. I got to find us a closeout song, so you guys go ahead.
Well,
So,
first
if-
blessings for everyone out there.
Don't pay any attention to all the propaganda on the boob tube. Okay, with this Proposition 6.
No, yes on 6 is what you want to vote.
Yes.
Yes on 6
Yes.
to repeal the gas tax.
Don't listen to these lying prison guards. Okay.
But you want to vote yes on K in Yuba County because you don't want to burn alive or not have the sheriff.
And I think you should vote yes on 5 too, because five gives the senior citizens the ability to sell their house, move, and keep their same Prop 13 status.
Oh, yes. We got to dig into that one then.
Yeah,
And,
that's 5.
it's really no on K. It's really no on K.
Yes.
No on
It's
K.
being
yes.
sarcastic.
Unless you're a supervisor in Yuba County, then it's yes on.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen the signs, if you don't vote yes on K, you're going to burn or be shot.
Yes.
I'd like to see who's going to
That's the way it
pay
is.
for all
If
the.
you use more than 5 gallons of water a day, they're going to come and shoot you.
Yes. All right, that's it. We got to go. Have a great week, and we will see everybody same spot, same time, same bat place, same bat channel next week.
Yes.
So have a good week, guys.
Manana.